Hello everyone, nubkeks here, fresh out of the shower, and welcome back to Nub Raids, where Plarium has actually released the Fragment event calendar for Pythion kind of early in the day, which is nice. So that's a step in the right direction, you know. Maybe we'll get it the day before the events start next time, sometime in 2023. Who knows? But yeah, what I'm going to do in today's video, as I always do for these events, particularly trying to help out, free-to-play, low-spend, early mid-game players, go through this event calendar and look for what are the problem days, which are the bits that are going to be difficult, what do I need to prepare for, what should I do when. That's basically what we're trying to do to make this process, because it's a long process, almost 2 weeks of gathering up these fragments. What's the best way to do it? How do we do it? So that's what we're going to do. Before we dive in, a quick word about me as well, because I don't think we had a video out on the channel yesterday. And I don't know, maybe some of you guys are going like, hey, I thought you were back after your break. Where's the video? Basically, I've been fairly sick for the last few months. I've got Crohn's disease, which has been in remission, luckily, most of the time for the last 10 years or so. But it's been really flaring up and very bad for the last few months and getting worse. So that's what's sort of been going on recently. So yeah, like at the moment, we're looking at a new medication and treatment and all of that. Which might probably going to be starting next week, which should hopefully fix things. But yeah, I'm just sort of not necessarily making a video every single day, not trying to stress myself out trying to do that stuff. So yeah, I'm just sort of taking it a bit more slow, doing videos that I think will be really good, or where I'm having a lot of fun making the video. So there might not be a video every day. Some days there might still be 2 or 3 videos. So it's going to be a little bit sporadic and all over the place for the next little while until, things get settled and back to normal. So that's sort of what's going on. But anyway, let's dive into the Fragment event calendar, what you're actually here for. So first of all, always point this out. While there are 155 fragments available, 40 of those fragments are for winning tournaments, which is, if you're a low spender, if you're free to play, is almost impossible. So I think the best thing to do, oh, we've got the wrong brush type, here we go. The best thing to do is to just ignore that completely and ignore this completely. Really, we're looking at 115 fragments total up for grabs, which means you can skip 15 fragments if you want to, if you need to, and that's up to you. So we'll take a look at it and we'll make a decision after we've looked at everything as to which bits might be worth skipping. Oftentimes, yeah, you can pick something that's worth skipping. Sometimes it can be worthwhile just trying to grab everything that you can anyway, just in case you make a mistake, which is common enough. Someone makes a mistake, they miss one of the events, they don't pay attention to when it ends, and then suddenly you're stuck a few fragments short. Then they try to sell you fragments, and nobody wants to do that. So, taking a quick look at this, I think the first thing I want to do, maybe a little bit different from normal, this is something which is quite a little bit surprising in a sense. We will have 3 artifact enhancement events going through this, guys, so be very careful with your silver. Each artifact enhancement event can take a big chunk of silver. I'd say roughly probably to get the fragment, starting from no preparation at all, probably about 20 million silver for each one of these events. Now, if you got stuff that's closer to being rolled up, that can definitely help. I've got lots of videos in terms of sort of min-maxing artifact enhancement events on the channel already. It's definitely something to watch out for. Simply enough, save your silver and only roll up or upgrade gear during these artifact enhancements. Remember, there are 3 of them, so definitely pace yourself. I think the way that it's laid out with the dungeons is actually, it makes it not too bad, like spiders right before second one, or right during the second one. Spider gives lots of silver, that's cool. Then you're going to be farming dragon, and there's nothing really else to spend silver on here, no champion training, so this one will help as well. So not the worst, but just to be aware of it. The next thing to look at, the next big stumbling point, are going to be the 2 summon events. Right, 2 summon. In fact, this is the biggest stumbling point for most people here, guys. So we've got Champion Chase Tournament with 15 fragments plus 5. Well, we'll ignore the plus 5. So 15 there. And we've got the Summon Rush for 20. This is quite tricky because, well, let's talk about Summon Rush first. It's really hard to say how these fragments will be laid out. It's possible it will be, 5 fragments for maybe a low amount of points, 1,000. And then maybe another 15 for, it could be like 2,500, it could be 3,000. This is definitely the thing to watch out for, definitely. So if it was, I think the smart thing for all of you is to prepare to struggle to get this one, right? Let me put it like this. If it was 2,500 points for the 20 fragments, that's 5 sacred shards worth of summons. It's an awful lot of shards to get it. There's no real easy, cheeky way to cheese summon rush. You can pull a bunch of green shards, but that is very intensive in itself. So that's definitely one to watch out for. And because it's 20, you cannot skip them all unless you win one of these tournaments, which is very difficult. So you cannot skip them. You are going to need some. So definitely make sure you save good shards for summon rush. We're talking about sacreds and voids to get through this. And it's hard to know how many are going to be involved. The champion chase tournament, you could, in theory, skip. I don't think you really need to skip it, though, especially for someone that's free to play, early mid-game. It's a 2x Ancients, right? So this is 2x. Let's just put in A. That's a terrible A. There we go. Capital A. Beautiful writing. It's 2x Ancients, which is a pretty darn good time to pull. There's been very few guaranteed champion events recently. 2x Ancients is pretty close to as good as a guaranteed event anyway. And certainly for early game, you're going to get a bunch of epics, which you need. So I think 2x Ancients is a great place to pull early mid game. This is 2x Ancients. You're probably going to need, I would say, 50 Ancients roughly, as a rough amount for probably getting the 15 fragments. Roughly. It might be a bit more than that, might be a bit less. Champion chase, you can get champions from campaign drops. You can get champions from fragment summons. Makes that much easier. Let's put this one in. I'm actually going to say 5S to be safe for Summon Rush. I'd want to be having at least 5 Sacreds. It can go, again, it can go as high. I think with Gaius, the Gleeful, last year, I think it went as high as like 7 or 8 Sacreds to get all the stuff. I'm pretty sure. It can be really nasty. So really be careful of Summon Rush. You might be able to skip 15. Who knows? It might just be one chunk of 20 fragments there. Who knows, right? Who knows? So we shall see. Unfortunately, it's way near the end of this. So you got to get everything else up to then, and then you might get messed up. We'll see. Okay, coming across to this stuff right here. What should you be doing day one? Really? Well, I think for the start of this, we've got Ice Golem and Champ Training starting off today. I recommend doing Champ Training today, all the way up to the start of Dungeon Divers. Then when Dungeon Divers starts, we can dive into Ice Golem, and we want to really double dip the Ice Golem and that Dungeon Divers event to get lots of Dungeon Diver points. Just farm out that Ice Golem pretty much as quick as you can then on Friday, Saturday, once Dungeon Divers has started. And once you're done in Ice Golem, that's okay because Fire Night is actually going to be starting up then on Sunday. So Fire Night, again, I really recommend with Fire Night, you come in here and Fire Night overlaps with Dungeon Divers. Should make this first Dungeon Divers very, very easy. You can sprinkle Champion Training, the rest of it, in throughout this to help you. And obviously, if you're doing campaign, it's going to help with the Dungeon Divers as well. So, in summary, I think the Dungeon Divers part of this should be very easy. You just sync up those dungeons with super raids during Dungeon Divers. It's going to make it very easy. I think the hard thing is it's going to be pretty energy intensive here at the start. Champion Training is a big time and energy drain. And you got to be running Ice Golem as well, which is also a big time drain. It's probably the slowest dungeon to farm. And Fire Night is not the fastest dungeon to farm either. They're two pretty hard ones. So yeah, I think this is going to be pretty energy intensive. It's actually live in game right now over here, the Champion Training event. And you're going to need 8,000 points. It's a good chunk of points, but I would definitely recommend going for it. If you have lots of energy saved up, as a free-to-play player, if it's possible, completing all these events for the fragments, but going all the way up to the 12,000 for the legendary skill tome, an extra 4,000 points for a skill tome, a legendary one, is actually really worthwhile. This is the sort of thing you would save your energy for. So, if it's your first few fusions, you probably won't be able to do that. But when you're a bit further into the game, definitely this is the sort of thing that's worth going for. Legendary skill tomes are very rare, and it's worthwhile. But it is, of course, intensive. You're going to need a good chunk of gems or energy saved up, I think, to get through this stuff. But luckily, I think this is the hardest part of the whole thing. Something that's fairly easy. We've got Classic Arena happening at the same time. We've got 2 Classic Arenas. Not much to say about those. If you're in Gold Arena, this basically happens for free. If you're in Silver, you definitely want to use pretty much all of your tokens, be pretty diligent, but it should be pretty doable. If you're in Bronze, it's going to be very hard. You're going to need to buy refills and stuff. But it's pretty easy even to get into Silver for Classic Arena. These are typically kind of freebies for these type of events. So that's not too bad. One thing to point out here is that you could potentially, depending on the dungeon divers, in fact, let me come in a race. You could, for example, ditch some of Fire Knight, right, in order to come in and finish off champion training. If that's what you need to do, you can totally do that, because Fire Knight goes on for longer. So long as dungeon divers is done or looking well, you can absolutely swap back over to champ training, finish it off, because once that champ training is done, there's really nothing to spend your energy on except for this Fire Knight. So there we go, going to that. Then Fire Knight ends, we've got ourselves another champ training with dungeon divers and then spider as well. So simple enough, we're going to be starting off with champ training the same way. When spider starts, probably coming over and farming spider pretty intensively is a good idea. There's only 10 fragments up for grabs here. We'll see how intensive this is. Again, it's sort of up to you because you do have time at the end to finish off spider, but I would still be doing a chunk of spider probably right here. I'd be definitely farming it out Thursday, Friday. Spider is very quick to farm. Nice thing about spider as well, guys, is that stage 10 has a bug that's never been fixed. It's been in the game for ages. People get upset sometimes. They say, don't say it in a video, Plarium's going to fix it. They're not going to fix it. They don't give a shit. They don't care. But the drop rates on a stage 10 are higher than they should be for whatever reason. So you can just come in and farm stage 10, and which is really easy, and actually get the spider tournament and dungeon diver points done pretty easily. You're going to get a bunch of junk gear, but in terms of energy for spider tournament and dungeon diver points, it's pretty reasonable. So you can sort of get that done at the same time. Boom, boom, boom. And then definitely finish off champ training, make sure that's done, and then you can come back to finish spider. This I don't think is as rough as this first part, simply because spider is so much quicker to farm than Ice Golem or Fire Knight are. You can do the stage 10 trick. So I think this part is not as bad. If you got through the first half, you should be fairly okay. And then once spider is done, really no rush here. Come in and just slowly finish out dragon. There's going to be super raids. This is like, please, you shouldn't need to spend any energy or, extra energy, or spend any gems or anything. This should be a nice, slow finish to the event. Slowly farm it out, and then grab those artifact enhancement points at the end. So there we go. That's how we're looking, I think, in terms of the path through this. I do think, also one thing to point out, I forgot to mention, we should probably have, I believe we have a CVC here, right? I think it's here. Or else it's over here. I think it's this one. I could be wrong. CVC. Because I was away on holiday, so I didn't pay attention to the last one. I don't think it was last week. I think it was it last week? Maybe it was last week. One sec. Let me check. Let me double check. I've forgotten. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I double checked. So CVC was like the first week of January. So it should be here. Most likely CVC. Could be personal rewards. Might not be. There's not much really overlapping with it, to be honest. I imagine artifact enhancement will end before CVC begins. So not really any double dipping there. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It looks to me like it might not be personal rewards, but who the heck knows? Whatever Plarium will do. So CVC should be here. CVC. So yeah, look, there we go. Like I said, energy intensive right here. I think that is something to watch out for. This is a hard part. You know, this chunk right here, I think it's fairly difficult energy wise. I think this part here is only a little bit. I put 2 exclamation marks there. I put 1 small bit here. I'm not really worried about that. I think the start of it is the hardest part. And then, of course, Summon Rush, I think, is quite tricky as well, because we simply don't know how much it could be. There you go, guys. Good luck. I think Pythion's a great champion. He's going to be exceptionally helpful to nearly everyone for progressing through this sort of stuff. And this looks to me to be fairly doable. The big concern is Summon Rush, because you got to get so far in, and then you might get messed up. So really save those shards. Don't pull any randomly. Save them all up. Good luck. Hopefully Clan Boss is kind and drops lots of shards for you to make this easy before it comes around. We shall see. Thanks for watching, everyone, as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.